Oh, he's here, folks. The Messiah. He's looking good. Can you hear me?
Sec. Fuck it. We'll do a live.
Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Matt.
And I'm Dan.
And we're talking about hygiene. How are you?
Hygiene.
Terrific. On today's episode, we're talking about
Hygiene.
Not the Critic from
Hygiene.
NBC Today Show. Yes, pulled it off flawlessly. I want to bring up someone that looms large in the world of hygiene. And this man is Batman. Ever heard of him?
Sounds familiar.
Now, Batman is a lot of things, right?
Dark and brooding.
Dark and brooding. Keep going. He refuses to kill. He doesn't like to get messy. He is the best fighter in the world. Am I correct? You have to fact check me on that. He has his own bat cave.
Greatest detective.
He lives with his butler alone or with Robin or his son, Damian. Depends on the timeline. Let's go with the cinematic Batman.
Let's stick with Dick Grayson.
Let's stick with Dick Grayson. He has a great mansion, a bat cave, and he's obsessed with cleaning up Gotham. That all sounds heroic, right? Yep.
Speaking of cleanliness and Batman, he's got a lot of high-tech gadgetry in that bat cave.
Yeah.
And depending on what depiction, most depictions of the bat cave, there's also actual bats living in there. I think Alfred has to scrub the bat computer with guano.
Now, this could throw a wrench in my theory. I think he loves having bat shit all over the place. It makes him feel alive. Guano. Yeah. Guano.
Yes.
He is obsessed with cleaning up the streets of Gotham. Thinking about, this is my theory here. Is Batman just OCD and obsessed with hygiene and not really a hero at all?
Is it heroic to satisfy your own compulsions? If it's OCD and he needs to clean to quiet the voices in his head?
Yes. That's
maybe being selfish. Maybe it's a coping mechanism for what he's going through.
Exactly. He's been obsessed with the death of his parents for so long, right? And he's obsessed with kind of getting, does he get vengeance? Does he want vengeance? He is vengeance.
Yeah, he is.
That's personified. So I think he's just trying to scratch an itch. And Batman just wants to wash everybody's mouth out with soap and their feet and their hands. And he suffers from a severe case of OCD and he needs to be treated.
Do you think if Howie Mandel's parents were murdered in front of him as a young boy, he would have become Batman?
A very good chance. I think he would probably become the Riddler. The Riddler is a good comp to Batman's OCD, the inverse of Batman's OCD.
The Riddler, not the Joker?
The Joker doesn't give a flying. For starters, what is the definition of hygiene? How do you think about hygiene?
I would say the act of keeping oneself clean and groomed. I would leave it at that as a short definition.
Okay. You said keeping yourself clean and groomed?
Yeah. The cleanliness refers to visible dirt, body odor, oral hygiene, that kind of thing. Taking care of yourself in the way a modern man would. I don't think cavemen worried about hygiene. If cavemen practiced more hygiene, the human race died out. They had to keep their immune systems going out in the wild.
So you're saying that
if I went back in time to live with some ancient cavemen dudes, I'd probably get sick immediately and die. I don't have the same type of immunity built up that they do.
Why is that? What makes them extra protected?
The more you expose yourself to certain germs, the more your immunity is built up to fight those germs. You can't start snorting malaria and think you're going to be immune. But if you've grown up in the wilderness, certain woolly mammoth style whooping cough, our bodies are less equipped to deal with. We don't worry about it anymore.
Is it ironic that a lot of the biggest germaphobes are sometimes vaccine or medicine hesitant? We're a Vaccine Plus podcast here. Vaccines brought to you by science.
Yeah, very pro-vaccine. I've met people anti-vax before the COVID vaccine. They believed in natural immunity and blah, blah, blah. Hey, guys, listen. How could you be that anti-polio? Had to get rid of that. How do we do it? Vaccines.
Am I the guy?
I'm generally talking to the public.
Yep. Which ether is that? Is that a hygienic way of saying people?
And a lot of people are against the mandates of even like having it be a requirement to attend public school to have certain vaccinations. Mandates of having to attend public school. I'm all for it. It's called herd immunity. Schools are a petri dish for diseases. One kid gets strep throat, everyone's getting, one kid gets the flu, everyone's getting, you got to curb it as much as you can.
I think you have to curb your enthusiasm. People are getting way out of hand thinking they're doctors. The access to medical information is misused.
There's misused information, and then there's bullshit people read and, oh, that's got to be true.
I trust Google. Hey, Gene has been my G for a long time. Gene Shalit, Gene Siskel. These are movie critics to trust.
Name Gene.
I think
Gene Shalit, Gene Siskel. You just named
why?
two. Why? It's
Why,
in their
Dan?
genes.
Beyond the basic literal meaning of hygiene for the body, being clean, protecting against disease, wash your hands to the happy birthday song, brush your teeth, left, right, dunzo.
And like anything, do it enough, but don't do it too much. Too much Purell, you're killing the good bacteria on your hand that can neutralize some minor germs. Then you create antibacterial and antibiotic resistant bacteria, and then you get these super bugs.
You sound like a doctor. My initials are MD. Your initials are DD. Could we do anything with that in terms of certification?
Yeah, you'd be a doctor. I would be a dentist, I suppose.
Okay. So in that scenario, how would you like to be referred to? What should I call you?
Herbie.
Herbie.
Dentist.
That was from the 1967 Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer ABC special, Claymation. Check it out. We'll show it in a future episode. Dan, it seems like you have a passion for this stuff. What did you want to be when you grew up?
When I was younger, I always said I wanted to be a doctor. Then I realized that takes a lot of work. And I said, fuck that.
Dan, we both know folks, guys in the audience, Guy Pearce in the audience, the Mr. Brutalist himself, call back. One of the things to be a really good doctor, you have to like to give advice, right?
Yeah, that's part of a good personality trait as a doctor. But more importantly, to be a good doctor, you have to be keeping up on the research, new studies and findings.
Now, that's a good point. And that's something that I don't think either of us want to deal with. Would you, Dan, trust an unkempt doctor?
My initial reaction would be no. But if I went through an appointment with the guy and I saw he was one of those guys up on the research and smart.
It could be an elf. It could be a nymph. It could be a troll. It could be a mermaid. It could be Batman. Sorry, I interrupted.
All I was saying is I wouldn't dismiss him if I sat through an appointment and saw he knew what he was talking about and was up on the research. Then I'd be like, okay, this guy doesn't practice what he preaches. I have met other doctors. They'll be like, go on a diet, don't smoke, blah, blah, blah. Then he'll try to tighten up his suspenders and go outside and smoke half a pack before he sees the next patient.
Smoke a crack pipe. Unleash that tension.
You can be a hypocrite as long as you know what you're talking about with other people.
Exactly. If you're a hypocrite, you got the Hippocratic Oath, which means do all the harm.
That's where it came from. It used to be the Hippocratic Oath.
Hey, Dan, we're going to pivot here. I don't know if you can see the screen, but you see this fella.
That is a young Dan Dwy.
That's a Dwy. That's a Dwy, folks. Can you give me some descriptions on what this 15-year-old, what his personal grooming style and credo was? And what are you wearing?
I am wearing a black leather jacket from Wilson's House of Leather and Suede. A gray sweater, probably from Abercrombie and Fitch.
Royal Pastel.
Or possibly American Eagle.
I'm going to say American Eagle.
A wonderful, fresh haircut from CNC Unisex from the mall.
I love CNC.
$20.
$20 haircut.
$20 haircut. With tip, $23, because I threw $3 at the random person they assigned to me that day.
That's
a wonderful set of braces.
Don't you discount the braces, Dan.
And little did 15-year-old me know that one day he'd be in his 40s, still be waiting to grow into that nose.
If you self-deprecate one more time, I swear to God, I will allow it and move forward, but I won't accept it. Let me tell you about this kid. This kid was influenced by the best of them. Dan, expound on the leather jacket and the meanings behind it. Every style choice here is calculated.
I figured with the braces, the only move was to dress opposite, like the Fonz.
And I believe one of your favorite comedians, Conan O'Brien, also wore a leather jacket. Was that an influence, or just the dead cow element you like?
No, I always liked Conan O'Brien. He always had a brown leather jacket, which I respect. I had a brown leather jacket also.
How did you pay for that?
I asked my grandmother for them for Christmas 2 consecutive years. She got them.
Black and the brown year.
If I asked my parents, I probably would have gotten a pleather vest. So I knew where to go, my grandmother.
What was her name? Her name is Mums.
Mums is what I called her, yes.
Mums? And you
still call her that.
Good for you. The
siblings and cousins call her that, but I was the first one. I coined the name.
OG. Okay, Dan, let's get into it. The Dan collar method. Can you explain it?
I was very precious about how perfect my hair looked once I gelled it. All the collars of my shirts were always stretched out because if I gelled my hair before I got dressed, I would stretch the neck hole so it didn't touch my hair.
One day I broke it to you. Dan, your shirt collars are... I was obsessed with maintaining the rib of my shirts.
I remember your fashion advice. You like to keep your clothing nice and pristine. You said when you wear this type of t-shirt, after you put it on, reach back and pull it back because the more the front of the neck rides back, the better it makes your chest look. That's what you used to tell me.
And now I have man boobs. Since you shared, I guess I have to share.
Did I miss a costume change while screen sharing?
Just relax. It's casual podcast time. The second half of the hour is going to just fly. Let your hair down, guys.
Yeah, I don't know why I always remembered that, but I do remember you giving that advice. Put the shirt back, let the collar up on your neck. It makes your chest pop.
Not the worst advice.
I also remember you were an early adopter and heavy user of Downy anti-wrinkle spray.
Has that caught on?
I've got a couple bottles upstairs.
Downy.
When that was a brand new product, I remember you using that stuff.
Oh, yeah, Dan. I've always been on the cutting edge of household products geared towards house husbands and wives. Let's delve into it. Someone who had a particular set of skills in style. Feast on this guy. So this is me at 15. He's heavily medicated. The moon face denotes heavy steroid use, which we will not get into. But what it did cause was
not anabolic steroids, though. Not.
I wish. Yeah. If anyone has any, please, for hygiene's sake. One thing I was obsessed with, even going to an all-boys school, and we didn't have to worry about our appearance quite as much, was the shiny face fear. My face would get super oily and super shiny.
I remember your concern, and no one noticed it as much as you.
Was I obsessed? This celiac acid moisturizer from Clean and Clear was a godsend. It changed my life, Dan. I was a zombied piece of garbage before this cream. I went from level 1 lotion boy to top of my class. It's funny now because I don't care as much about my face. Maybe it would have been easier if I had it. But how are we going to tell our younger selves to avoid that shiny face fear?
I know what you're talking about exactly. Not only was your friend at the time, but going through the same kind of thing. My thing was oxy pads I used all the time.
I remember that. Yep.
When you're in that pubescent age, your body's changing, your voice is getting deeper, you're becoming more of an adult, but it's easy to be self-conscious, and other people are maturing at a faster or slower rate than you, and you're always comparing. You don't realize till you get older that everybody else is mostly concerned about themselves. They're not looking at you as much as you think.
That's advice. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
About your parents.
And even if you hear it straight on from somebody, it's not going to sink in. You're very self-conscious at that age.
It doesn't matter. We can't say anything. It's not going to come through. We're wasting our breath. Kids, just jump off it. It's not worth it.
All right, cut that.
Okay, Dan, let's go to some.
I'm not getting sued by some kid's parents face down in a ravine.
Okay. So, kids, nobody cares. Use your VR and go on that forever.
Just jump off the couch.
Jump off the couch. Stay in your basement and don't come out. Nobody wants you around, except for us. All right, Dan, I'm going to do some quick hitters.
This picture, I've seen it for the 4th time now.
They called me the Fitch bitch. Some of our favorite colognes. What were they, Dan?
Abercrombie and Fitch. A lot of people were into Calvin Klein. Tommy Hilfiger was my jam.
Oh, yeah. I was really big into Gap Body, but it was a female.
Yeah. It was advertised as unisex.
Okay. Those colognes were my lifeblood. My son is equally obsessed with smells. But as I've gotten older, I really hate colognes now.
I wear cologne maybe once or twice a year. I have a bottle I've had for at least 10 years. I spray it on at Christmas and Easter, family thing where you're supposed to dress.
Occasion, right?
Yeah.
And so everybody in the house knows when you have your scent, like
if I spray
something special.
Cologne, my kids are like, "Oh, it smells like Christmas. I only wear it at Christmas."
Go in the basement.
Yeah.
Jump off the couch. Go jump off that couch. Abercrombie, the American Eagle, Banana Republic, any other stores we want to shout out that help you get fresh to death with the hygiene?
When I was in 7th grade, I had a friend had a move that he thought was genius. He had a middle school girlfriend. He would arrange to meet the Galleria. There was a theater at the mall. So whether a dinner date, a movie date, or whatever, the mall was the place to go. He'd have his mom drop him off at Macy's. Before he met the girl, he walked through Macy's, free sample of colognes.
Economical.
Then go to the meeting spot. He could have a new scent every day.
A jukebox of scents.
Yeah. He'd pick up that little paper strip you're supposed to spray the scent onto for a sample, but he'd hold it next to his neck. Like it mattered that he was using the piece of paper.
Magical thinking again. I'll give you a story. This is a story. I worked at a big box store. I'm not going to name the name because I was well known there.
Talking about, yeah. I'm not going to name it either.
There were a lot of nerds at this job. And when I was with the fellow geeks and nerds, we would be working on the computers. Sometimes you would get the nastiest, most disgusting metal so twisted. Hair cuticles, a layer of dust. I don't know if halitosis actually exists.
Can transfer to a device?
And there was this one person, the former IBM coder, who fell on hard times and started living out of his Honda Civic. I think he just couldn't code anymore. But he had a Best Buy card. Oh, no.
Based on half the shit you already said, the cat's out of the bag already.
Meow.
All best boys.
All right, we're keeping it. He was living out of his car, but had a premium membership to the Geek Squad. He had 365 gold standard coverage. Everyone complained about him, and he would bring in all these computers.
I thought maybe it was a coworker. It's a customer.
Customer. Could have been a coworker, fit the mold. A lot of the guys I work with are in his position, so it's a circle of life thing. You can identify these men by sharing the same Civic. Every Civic has a 30-year life cycle. So if it were 97, they're phasing it out now. They're up for a new one. The 2025 Civic, they'll be getting an Civic. It's always a 20-year gap. He kept bringing in, and we kept repairing them. One day I said, I'm not doing it. Every time I knew this guy would come in, the smell of urine would hit me. It's like a human waste goes right to the nostrils and just penetrates. I'd say, Fred, or whatever his name was, he's here. Unfortunately, I was only right 1 in 10 times because most of our customers smelled like urine. It's amazing how many Best Buy customers smelled like human waste. Let me continue with this guy. So he comes in and I said, we can't do anything to this. This is disgusting and I'm refusing to do it. He started to cry and I had to kick him out. That was the last time I saw old Fred, but at least he now knows, keep those computers clean, folks. Spray, get an apple cloth, $50. That's it. Spray it and get all that urine and shit out of my computer. Okay. And don't even get me started on dirty images they would have on those computers, those customers. And they would want
is it
me
possible?
Cut that part.
Is it possible you were a traumatized state from hating this job so that every time the doors opened, you pissed yourself a little? You thought all the customers smelled.
You have the answer now.
Hey, do you know about this? I got grossed out when I learned about it. A big contributor to human sweat has urea, the big component of urine. If someone's dehydrated, their sweat will smell a little bit like piss.
That definitely applies to me. I'm like a human urine bag because I have hepatitis and I'm yellow. Guess what that is? Piss. I'm a piss boy. Not only a lotion boy, but I'm a piss boy and a best boy.
For our many listeners, on Matt's behalf, Matt has autoimmune hepatitis. He did not contract hepatitis from Pamela Anderson.
I did.
Never mind.
I joke. This is a disclaimer because I don't want to be judged.
As a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, coming back to a previous conversation, it would seem that... Can you shut that fucking train up?
You smell like urine.
To everyone's best guess, Matt developed this because of acne medication. Is that fair to say, Matthew?
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So we were talking about the clean and clear lotion, but you also went the prescription route to try and get rid of that.
A lot of people use Accutane.
The name in case there's any legal ramifications.
No, we want them as sponsors. Accutane, bring us you're tired, you're poor, you're weak, you're wary. We want you.
Yes, you're keeping all the other pharmaceuticals Matt takes in business.
I have a contagious disease that I caught, and it's my fault. You should look down on me like a leper. Dan's point. Okay, Dan, we have to keep moving because we have a lot to cover here.
We've barely talked about hygiene, but
right.
Where do you stand on debate about how much soap to use and how often to shower?
If you ask me that question, I don't trust you. I think you are a vampire, and I will shut you down with every force I have at my disposal. But the answer to that question is shower once a day, once every other day. If you need a reset or refresh, do a plunge.
Are you a morning or an evening shower person?
I need both. These questions are too committal. Don't try to pin me down.
I'm starting to think you don't shower. You just can't answer this. There's no answer.
Listen, what happens in my house
stays in my house. Are you living in a Honda Civic right now?
This is a green screen. Wipe. It hit really close to home because I said, I see myself in this old man.
The back seat and was like, hey, Fred, sorry about that. Good night.
When you die, I'm going to own this Civic. Dan, when was the best time for hygiene? Middle Ages, Enlightenment, Rome, the 60s? Or are we living in a golden age right now?
Now, dude. What kind of question is that? The 60s were awesome, but as time advances, so does technology. Hygiene is the most advanced right now. You have options and the choice. You can choose to shower in the morning and then not till 3 nights later.
Who's to say? I'm not going to tell.
I'm a nighttime shower guy.
What do you do in the morning?
In the morning, I get up, brush my teeth, get dressed, have coffee. I don't feel dirty because I have never into bed dirty. I like to get into bed clean.
Argument from Booteagle, one of the dirtiest people. No, I don't. Remember that? Cut it. Booteagle.
Oh my God. If I'm going to get into bed, I want to be clean first. And then
you don't want to, right. You don't want to sully the.
I don't want to roll around in my own greasy oil of the day.
You don't ever smell your own. Sometimes I smell my fingers, my own musk, my own kind of stuff, my essence. I like to know where I'm at with it, as long as I'm not getting moldy. But I'm coming across a little dirtier than I really am. I have taken a shower today. Remember when I had a tie on, it was pretty cool. And this beard doesn't groom itself. So it's been groomed. Dan,
I'm just wondering if I stay silent, how much more defensive you're going to get.
Not at all. I'm going to show you my hero. Dan, how much time do we have?
Keep going.
Okay, I'm going to show you my hero. Our next topic, which is extreme hygiene. I would love for you to read this quote because you have a better elocution. and you're coming into it raw.
There was also the issue of his hygiene. He was still convinced, against all evidence, that his vegan diets meant that he didn't need to use deodorant or take regular showers.
That's from Walter Isaacson's biography on Steve Jobs. Dan, are you familiar with this?
So my thoughts on that are, did he stink though?
Yeah.
He was nose blind to his own stank?
No, I think he was so arrogant that it invaded.
You got a bit of an odor. No, I don't.
I think he would get a little defensive and say, you have no idea what you're talking about. I am the healthiest person around. I invented apple.
You must be picking that scent up from yourself. I had celery today. I don't smell.
Right. He would say, it's literally impossible for me to smell. He would go into and look at him in this picture. He just stinks. The other part I thought was interesting was his ego, that he thought he was so great that his shit didn't stink like the rest of us, and that he was almost too good for showers.
I know other people like that. They literally think their own shit doesn't stink. It's actually quite a phenomenon.
Ooh. Wow. And dee. I keep thinking of that Outcast song. A doo. A doo. Your shit don't stank, but you really smell like a doo.
I have heard that argument from other people too, that you smell better, produce less BO, and less of a need for deodorant on a cleaner, specifically a vegan diet.
Where's the medical?
It's usually from damn dirty hippies.
I am personally could do less of the hippies. I could do less of them, even though I agree with them basically every fundamental thing.
I don't mind
they
hippies.
Smell.
I stole that phrasing from my favorite guy, Norm Macdonald.
What about me?
What about you?
I thought I was your favorite.
Oh, no.
How about Norm Macdonald?
Yeah, he's my favorite.
You just said Norm Macdonald. I had a brain aphasia thing. Oh, God. All right, so we're on the same page with Mr. Steve Jobs. He got proven wrong. Didn't matter how rich he was. Cancer doesn't care about that. How did he die?
Too many vegetables.
That's a joke. Vegetables cause cancer. Brought to you by Mike and Ike's.
Believe ego was the biggest factor of Steve Jobs. He was notoriously egotistical.
My goal is to be notoriously humble and then flip it on everybody with a humble brag. Okay, Dan, we're going to keep it moving. That was the king of hygiene. Now, you ready? Okay. He was a freak, a dirtbag. So
what do you think about Howard Hughes? Is he on your list?
Yeah, I thought about Howard Hughes. I didn't know if that was too deep of a cut. So it's either Mr. Clean of Hygiene or Dirtbag. Mr. Clean of Hygiene or Dirtbag.
Is this a game?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Hold on.
Dirtbag.
Mr. Clean of Hygiene or Dirtbag? All right. Danny Tanner. And why?
Mr. Clean of Hygiene, man. Would get a special mop for the counter. He pledged, swept, and mopped. I was like, how does this guy have a job? You remember how clean he used to keep that full house?
Only a sunroom. Maybe he could have sprung for some loftier quarters.
That was a pretty big house.
It had a lot of people. Do you think that his cleaning obsession was born out of the tragedy of his wife dying?
That's probably part of it. It might have been passive aggressive. He was so over the top. If all of you live in here, see how much I want this house clean, pick up after yourselves and don't mess up.
Couldn't have said it better.
It's still my house.
Yeah, it's Uncle Jesse, American Psycho / Bruce Wayne.
Obviously psychotic, but strictly speaking, pretty hygienic.
Even with the killing? Okay. How about Howie Mandel?
Howie Mandel has a known germaphobe. Mr. Clean of Hygiene. He didn't go bald. He just started shaving his head.
He had a great head of hair. What was he doing?
He decided to shave it and never went back. He feels cleaner that way.
Something wrong with that guy. Something wrong with that guy.
I heard him tell a story about being a comic and going on the road, a lot of hotel stays. He always orders extra towels to the room and he makes pathways from the bathroom to the bed so he doesn't walk barefoot on the dirty hotel carpet.
No.
It's not any kind of logical hygiene, but another story, Adam Carolla told this story, and I think it was on Howie's podcast, but shower time.
Sorry.
Adam Carolla said he saw Howie Mandel walking down the street. They bumped into each other. Howie had an open box of popcorn, and he was eating popcorn. And he was like, hey, you want some? You want some? He's offering it to other people. And Adam was like, I don't get this. He's a germaphobe. Howie said, you don't get it. I'm crazy. It doesn't make sense. I'm crazy. I don't know, but after I felt like I had to offer it to people, they were reaching in the box. I didn't touch the popcorn again. I didn't eat any more of it. Adam Crow was like, oh, I thought that was a little more profound. He said, no, I am crazy, but I'm not going to eat popcorn after you touched it. Are you fucking crazy?
That's, I guess, fair. But the fact that you're eating the popcorn, I feel like popcorn was made to be shared.
The whole point was, he makes the pathways and towels. They're not his towels from home. They're also from the dirty hotel. It just makes him feel better in whatever logic he's got in his germophobic mind.
Yeah, we're not laughing just to call them crazy. We don't want to get canceled. All the viewership and the goodwill, we don't want to alienate anybody. Howie, you're a great host and good guy. America's Got Talent. Okay, next guy, Monica Geller. We'll do this quicker.
Okay.
Queen of Hygiene. It's not your fault.
Monica Geller, the character, is very clean.
Yeah, I just had to add a woman for the demos.
A token woman.
Now, I want to go to the ultimate kind of hygiene dynamo, bigger than Steve Jobs. This leads to our next segment, favorite Brad. Can you guess?
Brad Pitt.
This is a man who is a hygiene dynamo. He looks good, dirty, clean, happy, sad, old, young, Benjamin Button. What is your favorite Brad?
Listen, he's an amazingly good-looking guy, but I mean, you just mentioned he looks good, dirty. Hygiene doesn't mean that you just look good. If he's dirty, then he's being unhygienic when he's dirty. That's a lack of hygiene, just because he looks good. You know what I mean?
I know you logically, but from a value standpoint, I only care about looks, and that's my currency.
That's fine. That's up to you. You're entitled to that opinion. But it sounds like you don't know the meaning of the word hygiene when you say stuff like that.
Hygiene.
Look at this guy's hygiene. He looks great even though he hasn't showered in 3 weeks and has yellow teeth with plaque all over him. But goddamn, is he gorgeous. Okay, but that's not hygiene.
So getting to a very interesting, this might not be interesting to the thousands, the hundreds of thousands, the millions, the billions, the trillions, the quadrillions of people, the tens, the fives, the fours, the threes, the ones.
This is the biggest crowd we've ever been.
So when I got sick, one thing that would trigger me was when people said, oh, you don't look sick. I had an obsession with looking good. They'd say, your coloring is really good. It looks like you're tanning. No, that's urine. That's urine, folks. Jaundice. When you see old people dyeing their hair repeatedly, they still look, their hair is good. It's not gray, but guess what? Dyeing it. That hair is really gray. They're not healthy. They're just dyeing their hair. Like Brad Pitt, is that blonde? Is that hygienic? I think not. I rest my case.
Sometimes it's hard to follow your lack of sometimes
it'll all come out of the
things you're saying don't mean what you think they mean.
Dan, it's about keeping
it might be me.
It's not
following
you.
Along with what you're saying.
It's not you. It's all me. Dan, I'm going to show you.
Let's talk about dogs for a second, okay?
Oh, okay.
Now, when you're walking a dog and then you happen to be next to a volcano, sometimes the volcano erupts and lava starts pouring down. You're like, you know what? Even though I'm far from the lava, I feel the heat. It's really hot. Even though I'm a good distance away, it's traveling through the air. And that's what I think about dogs.
I'm just throwing something out there and hoping it back, and I catch it in a perfect spiral, like a Frisbee. I want to talk to you about one of the most unhygienic attacks, because guess what time it is, Dan?
It's movie recap time with Matt.
It's Dan's favorite time. It's movie recap time with Matt. Today's story is about Viggo Mortensen. The French-American actor looks in this picture like DJ Quayle. Agree?
He does.
Yes.
I agree.
And in this scene, he is a lovely hitman just trying to relax in his bath time. Yep. Okay.
Yep, I totally get it. That was all about hygiene.
That is scene for scene my exact experience every time I step into the shower. It's an attack, the battle, the war for cleanliness. What I wanted to ask about this hygiene clip is, why isn't there more naked fighting? Is it hygienic to fight naked?
I think in today's society, you might as well ask, why is there not more naked hiking? People are not in the habit of interacting with while naked unless they're performing coitus.
Which should be happening all the time.
In public,
okay,
especially.
Dan,
yeah.
Anywhere that's hygienic, in my opinion. So, Dan, let's broaden the scope because we're going to wrap things up. This has been one of the best conversations, and I'm not being sarcastic. I think we're going to hit a plane here. How about verbal hygiene, spiritual hygiene, and the greater cleanliness of our society? So let's start with verbal hygiene.
Okay.
The idea of washing do you remember the expression?
Mouth out with soap?
Has it ever happened to you? Curious.
Of the taste of soap?
Yes.
That's why I ate soap once.
Do you think that's a real thing?
Maybe still some people do that, but yeah, I've talked to people who claim it's happened to them when they were younger.
Okay. They want you to be polite with your words. Don't curse.
That language is dirty language. So I'm going to wash your mouth out.
Now, that seems like a punitive kind of way. I'd rather say I'm probably one of the biggest.
I think it's punitive.
Is it helpful?
I think it depends on the person receiving the punishment. Some respond to negative reinforcement, some positive, case by case. Some claim their parents hit them, made them a better person. And some people continue the cycle and just think it's a normal thing to do.
I'm going to take a stand and be very clear. Any form of corporal punishment, whether it's spanking, soap, all of that is not helpful to growth as a person. I don't think it ultimately helps people.
I agree with you. I do not believe in hitting your kids, washing the mouth out with soap. It's a little too harsh. I don't practice that kind of thing. I'm just saying there are people that believe, oh, my parents did it to me and I'm better for it. They probably believe that because their parents manipulated them into thinking that's the case.
Yep. It happened to me, so it can happen. It should or it will happen to them. You guys got to deal with it. The thing you're very good at, and I'm not as good at, that I keep trying to practice, is being impeccable with your word. What does that mean to you?
In terms of keeping your word, you can trust me.
However you take it.
I'll just go in this direction. I am not, obviously, throughout these episodes, I've used a cuss or two.
Been great.
They say overusing curse words shows a lack of vocabulary. Some people use it as a filler because they can't think of the right way to articulate something, which might be the case, but sometimes it does give it that emphasis you're looking for.
I think it's fun.
It's fun.
There's something comedic, something punchy to it. Are we being impeccable with our word? Maybe, if it's deliberate to add emphasis.
You know what I think is also great? You know how a lot of guys will never grow out of thinking farts and fart jokes are funny?
Yes.
I am endlessly entertained with young children cursing. It gets me every time. I love it. If you want to get deep with it,
of course I do.
It's not even really going deep. That's just me pretending I can be deep.
Damn it.
They're just words. If you say the word turtle or the word fuck, it's just a noise. We attribute these meanings and if something's taboo or not. It's a man-made construct.
If we're cleaner with our speech in terms of profanity, but by flossing our speech with a fine-tooth comb, can that make us more persuasive and communicate ideas that we really want to get across?
I believe in word economy. If you can express your intent and meaning in a smaller amount of words, shorter sentences, then I think it's more effective and convincing than babbling on.
I was going to say, you're telling my life story. You could just do a colon, the Matt Daniels story I'm like the word inflation. It's called the mansplain.
If you can more succinctly articulate something, the more intelligent you appear.
And let's close with this saying, cleanliness equals godliness.
Cleanliness is next to godliness.
Tell me what that means, Dan. I don't know what that means.
It was spoken by Jesus, getting his feet washed
famous dirtbag
at the time. Famous dirtbag. He was basically just saying that hygiene is important. Keep yourself clean. Show respect for this body that God gave you. Keep it clean because it's important to God. Like every time I hear that, the section from an Eminem song called Alfred's Theme. He says, how can you say I'm washed up? I have the filthiest mouth. How could you say I'm washed up? If cleanliness is next to godliness, it's obvious I can't be beside myself.
Oh,
I've got a filthy mouth. I'm filthy. I couldn't be washed up. And if cleanliness is next to godliness, I couldn't be washed up because I'm the rap god. I can't be beside myself.
Wow. And that's a direct hit to anyone who challenges Eminem, who's earned his place in the hierarchy of being a super guy. Whether his hair's dyed brown or blonde, his eyebrows are really well coiffed. He's got
speaking of Eminem, I believe he's been sober for about 12, 13 years, maybe even longer.
Yeah.
That's staying clean.
Yep. That's staying clean. That's the term. So what's the secret? Is the secret cleanliness is next to godliness? And what are the parting thoughts? What have you learned today?
I learned it's hard for you to consistently shower living in a Honda Civic.
Thank you. Thank you for seeing me.
You are prejudiced against other homeless people that want their computers cleaned.
Don't bring your shit to me.
I learned that fighting for your life naked in a spa bathroom is a very important lesson in hygiene.
Don't do it unless you have a pouch to hold your testicular jingle jangles.
Learned you think hygiene is a synonym for beauty.
You've been learning a lot. You get an A+. Health equals beauty. Jesus was Brad Pitt.
If you're ugly like me, it doesn't matter how much you scrub, you're unhygienic, dirty. Doesn't matter.
That's the little Catholic in you coming out, Dan. Look at this guy. This is a handsome, beautiful young man, and he's my best friend.
That literally looks like a cartoon.
We can't help it if we had cartoonist features. Cartoons are cool. We like cartoons. Okay? Dan, we could go on and on, but I think my concluding thought is it's not about being clean. It's about feeling clear and having a tidy mind and as blank as possible, not knowing where I'm going for the next minute and seeing where I go when I get there.
Okay.
I'll see you.
I thought you were saying a clean conscience is the most important thing.
Oh,
but you went to
right.
Empty brain, having no thoughts.
Oh,
I didn't know you were going that way.
I think you get there with a clean mind. Just keep it simple. Keep it simple, Samantha.
Well said.
And we're going to be back in 5 hours for our next podcast because we're updating this to bi-daily. For any grooming tips, let us know. We love you and you are special to us.
I'm glad you joined us today and we will see you next time. We're not stopping no matter how much you don't listen.
Oh, self-deprecator. I'm going to stop it, but don't get off. Dan, up on the shelf. He was dead within the week. All is well because he died the next day.